You're going car. We're going to go in the 6-seater. Sit back or you can sit in front. Don't matter. Seat belts don't work, so don't worry about them. I'm getting it to go down there. If it won't go down there, you stay in there. Come on, babe. Let's go. Come on. Come on. If I open that gate, they're all going to be down here. At one time, there was between 60 and 90 million of these things across the North American continent. In the 1900s, the Department of Resources got together with Canada to count what they could find in the wild, and they only found 541. Today, there's approximately 800,000, and that's due to park zoos, farms, ranches, and reserves. They got their nickname Buffalo when the Frenchmen came to this part of the world to paddle the big canoes on the Great Lakes and to be fur trappers and traders. They seen the animals and they put the name Bouf on them, B-O-U-E-F. And in French, that's beef, and it eventually became Búfalo. But these are the American bison. And bison is a Latin word that means wild oxen, and that's what they are. They are wild. Nobody walks among them and nobody touches them, just like out west. And there's two kinds on the North American continent. East of the Rockies to the Mississippi is the plains or the prairie animal that are brown. Their heads are more square. They have the hump, but it's not as high. And east of the Mississippi to the Atlantic and up into the eastern states in Canada, there's a black bison called the woodland or the mountain. And they have triangle-shaped faces. They're bigger and they have a higher hump, and they are black in color. And in 2002, the man that owns the place brought in 2 black bulls and mixed them into his plains herd. Those bulls aren't here today, but their ancestors walked the ground. So the darker they are, the more woodland they would have in them. Right now, they're shedding their winter hair. They'll keep the hair on their head, their beard, their chest, the strip on their hump, and the tassel on their tail. But they will move keep it a little bit on their hump, and they will smooth out like regular cattle. But as soon as it comes out, it starts coming back in. People will come in the field once we move them to the next field because they're strictly grass fed, and they'll pick up the big gobs of hair out of the field and clean out these brushes, take the hair home, clean it, card it, spin it into yarn, and their skeins of yarn sell for $65 and $75 a skein. Because people that's allergic to wool, fur, and hair can wear their hair and it won't bother their allergies. They all have horns. Their horns and hooves are made out of the same thing that our finger and toenails are, called elongated hair in Carrington. The bull's horn is always big around at his head, and for 2.5 years it'll go over out wide and over his head like a crescent moon. Where the cow's horns are smaller diameter, they come out a little ways, go up, kind of come back like handlebars on a bicycle. So right there's a bull turning his head and a cow walking up to the fence. The bull's standing back there. There's a young bull standing there next to the cow. This all got started over 70 plus years ago with a couple taking their son to Yellowstone. He was 8 years old and he only got to see a couple animals, and he said that one day he was going to own his own. So they went back home to Bryan, Ohio. There he finished grade school, high school. He went to college, became a doctor, had 3 practices. Wauseon, Defiance, and Bryan, Ohio. At that time he had a little farm on the outside of Edgerton, Ohio. He decided then to get his animals, so he went to Custer State Park in South Dakota and got 1 young bull and 5 heifers. A heifer's a female. They mature between 2 and 3 and starts giving calves. Then she becomes the cow or the giver of life. And we don't put the cow down. She'll outlive her life here, which they could be late 20s, 28, 29 years old. We only harvest the 2-year-old and older bulls, and occasionally he will go by 15, 20, year and a half, 2-year-old bulls. They come home, go in quarantine for 90 days, then we put them into the herd and we watch them grow. The bigger the head, the bigger the head hump. They become the breeders, and the others become the product. And I don't use the M word, I use product, and I don't use the K word, I use harvest, because they know what we're talking about.
Well, his little place grew too small too fast and needed more room. So a little over 30 years ago, he walked over 400 plus acres here, decided this is where he'd build his retirement home and a place he could have his hobby. Put it into 7 fields for the 7 sacred directions. So when you come down the driveway, the field on your left was 1. We're sitting in 2. They're in 3. Then we go 4, 5, 6, 7 is in the trees and goes over to 1. So they get rotated around the preserve. Well, when he came, he didn't call from the herd, and his herd was 400 head. You put 400 head in one of our fields in 2 days, we have to move them. So our fields only maintain between 250, 260, and they don't stay in a field more than 5 days. Usually 3 days, they'll be standing at the next gate saying, hey, it's time to move for us. And the man in the gift shop, he's the manager, and he cuts the grasses before they start the rotation in the spring. So fields 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they get baled. And that's what we feed back to them in November, December, January, February, and March. Our bales weigh between 600 and 700 pounds. And on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they get 14 rolls. And each animal eats between, they tell me, between 60 and 75 pounds of grass a day each. And we go through 1,500 rolls of grass that gets cut off the preserve. So moms have their babies in April, May, June, July. 3 months she goes into season, so that starts the breeding time. They don't moo like a cow. They grunt, snort, roar, and growl like a lion. Times they sound like a big lion out there. Mom will carry that baby for 9.5 months. She'll walk off a little ways for privacy. Within an hour, hour and a half, she'll come back to the herd with that little orangish red bundle. They call them red dogs. That baby weighed between 30 and 40 pounds. And it's that orangish red color. And mom's milk is so rich and thick like a cream that within a month and a half, 2 months, that baby can triple its weight. And that's when they start coloring up to look like their parents. That baby's born, it gets its first milk, and in 20 minutes it's ready to run with the herd. So any of them can outswim most people. 3 steps, they can be running between 30 and 35 mile an hour and keep it up for miles. And that old cow right there at the fence, she wanted to, she could jump forward 7 foot, jump straight up in the air 4 to 6 feet, and they can spin on a dime. And this mom is very, very protective. She'll protect all the babies, but she only allows hers to come to her to nurse. So when it comes time to move them, got to go around next field, which would be 4, and make sure all the wires are stapled to the post, because deers pass in and out pop staples, and they will kill anything that comes in their home they don't want. Deer, dogs, coyotes, skunk, coons, and possums. Number 1, 3, 5, and 7 wires electric, and older ones respect it. The little ones don't take too long to learn to respect it. And out west, nobody does nothing for them. So if they want a mineral, they have to eat the earth. Here, we have a Rubbermaid tub in every field. And in there, we put a mineral supplement, which is like salt, calcium, magnesium, and iron. It's good for mom's milk and good for their bones. And because of that hump, they can't roll over like a dog or a cat. So they'll create a low spot in the earth like a high-sided dish. And there's no vegetation. They'll plop in it on their belly and kick over on their side and wallow and kick around. It's called the buffalo wallow. In there, we'll put a white material that looks like flour. They even put it in our flour to keep it from clumping in the millers and the moss out. It's ground up fossilized seashells called diatomaceous earth. So when they wallow in it, it keeps the bugs off of them. If they lick it, it helps worms them. They get hot spots which they can reach with their tongue or their horn and scratch it, break the skin open. That'll heal that. But come spring, summer, and fall, Mother Nature gives us a free pest control, and it's the birds. Those birds are cowbirds, swallows, starlings, blackbirds, and sparrows. They'll pick the bugs off of them. It's the only thing they allow to touch them. So by then it's time to move them, and they'll be standing at the gate down there, and we open the gate, stand between the gate and the fence, and we call them with our voice. We'll go yuk, 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 yuk real loud, and then you better look out because the ground starts shaking. The brown thunder comes up out of the ground. They're grunting and snorting. They get out into the new field. They're like kids on jumping jacks. Moms are looking for babies. Babies are looking for mom. 10 minutes, they're just as rowdy as they are right now till the next move, then they're ready to do it again. Any questions?